Flew in, knowing there's a hurricane coming. So before you came here, did you know there was a hurricane coming?
Yeah, I knew it.
You knew it?
I'm not a big scaredy cat of hurricanes.
So that first year you did
170,000.
In your second year you did
600,000.
600,000. And then this year would be about about $1 million. And all of that without owning a truck.
Yep, you're born a leader, you're not a leader.
Yep.
You know, leaders are born.
Yep.
And that really stood out to me.
He's someone that people want to follow.
Yes.
You're watching Shift Happens Beyond the Boxes, where we take a look at the inner workings of the moving industry.
Hey guys, Jason Bergenske here from Shift Happens Beyond the Boxes. Today I got my good friend here, Angus from House to House Movers.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. He actually flew in from a little city called Mississippi. And not only did he fly in, we have a hurricane in 2 days. Flew in, knowing there's a hurricane coming. And his flight's supposed to leave Wednesday, which is when we're getting hit with a hurricane. So we got to figure that out for him yet. Woo. But anyway, I'm super happy to have you here. Obviously, you're a customer of MoveitPro software.
Yes, sir.
You have been to our Legends retreats, stuff like that. So let's kind of get into, we'll talk a lot about your business.
Okay.
Most people that watch this are moving company owners. People like yourself, either, just starting out or people, far along that have been in business for 10, 15 years. Obviously, you're in the middle of that.
Yeah.
So. And anything we try and do is just to try and get, advice and stuff like that you've done to grow your business to help other people, and then also the same for you. So,
okay.
So let's kind of start out. So what kind of got you started in the moving industry? I don't think we've ever talked about that before.
That's a good question. We was just talking about that in the back. So I was working at Room to Room, and I was sitting in room to room, working a 9 to 5, moving furniture. It was a furniture store. We'd deliver furniture. Yep. To the company or to the customer's house if they purchased it, sure. And we'd go set everything back up. And I was just like, Lord, what do you want me to do with my life? Never had a clue what I wanted to do, never went to college or anything. I was just free winging it pretty much and just going with the flow every day. But then I just started sitting there like, really, what do you want me to do? I knew there was something he wanted me to do. Like once you get a calling,
sure,
you can't decline that calling or whatever. So I was just sitting there. I was like, Lord, show me what you want me to do. So I started praying and fasting. I would go on my lunch break, wouldn't eat a single bite to eat on my lunch break. I'd just sit there and pray and talk to the Lord and just ask him for what he wants me to do and just like go through scripture. And the one thing that stood out to me was serving where your feet are. And I was like, well, just started questioning myself, well, how can I serve where my feet are? Well, which I was serving at Room to Room, sure. Delivering furniture, and I was always like, they love me, I love them, and I love the customers. I was always helping the customers. But it was just, I felt there was more to it that I could be doing. And I got the guy that I was working with, that was the driver helper. Mm-hmm. He had a buddy that moved from Tupelo to Texas, started a moving company. And he gave me his contact information. I got a hold of him. I was like, well, shoot, I guess I'm going to start too then. And that's what I did. I started. And I kind of stayed in contact with him a little bit, and he was just like, what do I like? I was like, where do you get customers from? He was like, download Thumbtack. Yeah. As soon as I downloaded Thumbtack, phone started
getting jobs.
Started blowing
and so
up.
This was only, so obviously it's 2024 now.
Yep. You
started around 2021, so it was about three years ago-ish, yep. Something like that. You've grown the company already you're almost doing $1 million a year.
That's right.
This last 12 months you would have done or have done. And that's in a rough market for the most part, in the sense of, most movers over the last year and a half have felt a huge decrease in moves because the interest rate's so high. Interest rates are higher. Movers are slower, obviously, because people aren't selling homes as much or buying homes as much because interest rates are higher. So the fact that you've been able to push through that, and I think we talked a little bit about it earlier, but kind of for you to mention, the first year you were doing it kind of part-time. Were you still working at the...
Yeah, I was working at Room to Room.
Room to Room. You started doing your own thing. And so that first year you did how much in revenue?
170,000 my first year.
So 170, and you were still doing part-time, obviously working there. And then your second year you did around 600,000. 600,000. And then this year would be about right out about $1 million. And all of that without owning a truck.
Yep.
You don't own one truck. You got a couple trailers, I guess.
Trailers.
And you do some renting of U-Hauls. But building a company from $0 to $1 million, and we don't own one truck.
That's right.
No office.
Kind of like Uber.
Right? Yeah. But no office either, right?
That's right.
Which is actually amazing, and obviously I'm sure that's stuff down the road for you that you're excited about and growing the company and doing an office and stuff like that. But the fact that you've been able to grow from 0 to $1 million without an office, without one truck that you own and stuff like that, I think is a big testament to the hard work probably you've put into all of it.
A lot.
And so to talk a little bit, so you were doing both things. When did you know, like, oh, this is it? Like, obviously doing $160,000 your first year, that was, I assume, more than you were making.
Yes, a lot more.
Doing delivery furniture for that company. What did that kind of look like? Obviously, as you started picking up jobs, how did you get helpers and stuff like that?
Yeah. So, well, when I started, I didn't know who to have. I didn't even know how to hire somebody. It's like, you want to help me? And I was like, yeah, I'll help you. So like even the my driver helper that was with me, his name was Blake. He helped me on my very first job, the Spencers. If you go to my Facebook page or my website, if you scroll down, you'll see the Spencers. I was like in a pink shirt. Okay. And like I didn't even have a shirt or anything, just had a regular shirt I would wear every day. And he helped me on that job, small job. Like I didn't even know how to pay somebody. So I just paid him, like I would rent the truck out and I'd paid him half the job, whatever. So it was $1,000 job. I paid him $500.
Yeah.
I paid for the gas.
Oh, geez. That was a deal for him.
I mean, he got the good end of the stick on that. And, but then I was like kind of just figuring out, I was like, well, that don't even make sense. And I had another guy that helped me out with finances. He's like, you got to pay him by the hour or something because then you're not going to make it.
Yep.
And, that's what I started doing. But I mean, when I figured out this is what I needed to start doing, once you get that calling, and the Lord tells you, He makes it clear to you. And I feel like that's what it was, is to serve, in the moving industry, and that's what I started. Like I mean, it's hard to explain when the Lord tells you to do something because it's your dreams are only visible to you. I can't explain my dreams that God's given me to you because you'll never be able to see them like I see them. So it's hard to explain, but I just know, this is what I'm called to do, is to serve. And if that's serving in, like, I feel like I could serve anywhere, but the moving industry, we served over 3,000 people so far in 3-4 years. So, I mean, it's been a blessing to us.
And I think there's so much, and we'll talk a little bit more about that too, but how the moving industry has allowed you to serve in so many other areas of your life. Mm-hmm. And we'll kind of come back to it, but about you being able to take your entire family and relatives on vacations and and stuff like that from what I understand from you would have never been possible in your family to be able to do something like that.
That's
and
right.
It's I'm a very firm believer in working hard and building a legacy, which I think is something you're doing for your family, which I think is huge. Me looking at it from the outside looks like you're the one that's changing your entire family's life. Mm-hmm. You're the one that's, obviously I don't know your family, but for you to never gone to college, never done anything, and have a company now that's doing over $1 million a year, like what does that mean to your family? Like what's your mama and what'd you call your grandma?
My mom. Well, I call my mama.
Mima. Yeah. So like what is she saying? Because obviously they're not used to that. You're just their grandson or their son.
Yeah, I really don't ever talk finances to them because they don't, like I said, nobody can see the dream that I have that God's given me, so they wouldn't understand it. So like, I don't ever talk to them, I just tell them I'm doing pretty good, we're staying busy and just let them know. But because at the end of the day, they're very humble. I'm very humble. Yep. And I don't sit there and rub it in their face or anything like that. But I do, they do know I'm doing pretty good. And it just, I don't think they even view me any differently or anything, but, they know, I always ask my mom, what do you think? She says, I'm very proud of you, son. Proud of both my boys, which is my younger brother, and he's doing his own little thing. Good. And he's doing a great job. And, I mean, we both, some of the hardest workers you'll ever meet. I mean, my brother, he's literally doing football games for Ole Miss, and he's helping the company grow that he's working with, and they go to Colorado and travel. He travels, work out. Does everything. So she's proud of both of us. And I mean, that's what even my grandma, I don't really talk to my grandma like that, but I know she's proud of me.
I mean, you just bought your first home, which is a big deal.
Yep.
Not only the home you bought has multiple homes on the property.
That's right. That's right.
You bought, which is something we talked about earlier that you're doing partly is because you'll be able to rent some of it out to some of your employees and help them out, and that's really neat.
And they'll be right there at the office.
And they'll be right there at the office, which is good. And then obviously it has a big storage in the back or warehouse area where
shed,
you got
shop,
to be able to put shop, so you can put all your equipment and stuff. So I mean, tell me now, like where are the majority of your jobs coming from? Obviously, you mentioned earlier that so what did you start in Thumbtack?
Thumbtack, yeah.
So where are you getting stuff from now?
I would say probably real estate agents.
Yep.
Or referrals.
Yep.
Just word of mouth. Because a lot of because we do such a great job, like the North Carolina job, we got them from Mr. Jason Warren. He's our biggest real estate agent in Mississippi. And he refers us to his customers. And we were supposed to be moving his mother, and his dad passed and everything, so they had to cancel the whole thing. But for a real estate agent to refer us over to his parents,
that's huge.
That's really big, and wanted us to come in, pack everything up. But we've got those relationships built with these people I've built over the years. Yep. With all these real estate agents, bankers, brokers, mortgage lenders.
And they trust you and they know you're going to take care of their customers.
And because even home inspection people, they know who we are. They're going into a home, doing an inspection before they get sold. Sure. And they're going to have a relationship with the customer. And they're going to ask, do you know anybody moving? And now he refers us out. Yep. So I mean, I think referrals is probably
it's a big part, and that goes a testament on how good your service is. Mm-hmm. Because I think when your service is shitty, if it's bad service,
they're not going to recommend
people aren't going to recommend you. They're not going to want to. But when people want to constantly recommend you, it obviously means you're taking good care of them.
That's right.
So how's the moving industry changed your life over the last 4 years? Obviously, a lot's changed since you were working at was it Room to Room?
Oh yeah,
and then, which is funny because then you named what's your company's House to House.
That's right. That's where I got it from.
So I worked at Room to Room. Now we're doing House to House.
Yep.
And which you do a lot of long distance moves also. Yep. But how has your life changed? Obviously you're able to buy a home. What have things you've been able to do in your life or to help other people or the church or vacations? We talked a little bit about it. We all went out to lunch earlier. You took your entire family on a vacation for a month. That's right.
Yeah,
did a tour. What do you call it? Tell me about
a road trip across America. Yeah. That's what I called it. We went from.
You went out and bought a Sprinter van.
Yep.
So everyone would be relaxed and able
to do it. We
wouldn't
be cram packed.
Yeah.
So there was six or seven of us, and it was an 8-passenger van. So it wasn't no, it was a 9-passenger van. Yep. We just took one of the seats out so we could have place for our cooler. And but we went from Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas, Branson, Missouri, and went from Missouri to Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona.
You stayed in hotels each night?
Or not every night, because some
of the nights you were driving probably, but you stayed in hotels a bunch. And then you guys did a cruise also, right?
Yep.
You did an Alaskan cruise?
From California to Alaska to Canada, back to California.
Who'd you take on that one?
It was me, my mom, my son, my cousin, my grandma, and my uncle.
Are your family, are they used to going on cruises like that, or that was something that...
Oh, yeah, my grandma and them...
She loves doing cruises.
My uncle does. He's diamond, I think he's diamond now. Yeah. He's done been on so many. My grandma, I think she's platinum.
That was your son's first one?
Second.
Second. He's 5 years old?
5 years old.
He's a little firecracker probably, too.
He loves it. He loved it. Just getting to, they put the ducks.
Oh, yeah.
So we sit out
the ducks
there.
Everywhere?
We'd go find ducks one morning and we'd get up. But, it's just done a lot. Not even just for my family, though, my employees. Yeah. We went to, this past year, took my employees that we had.
You rented a big place, didn't you?
We went to an Airbnb and got us a little place on the beach to, build relationships with each other. And I didn't realize how important that was. Two guys that I had, they're best friends now.
That's good.
They started off, it was funny as how it all started off. So it was Jack and Junior. So Jack took Junior's parking spot. So Junior was
pissed off.
He was mad. He was like, dude, how the fuck you gonna let this new dude take my parking spot? And he was heated. Well, they got, they built a relationship up at the beach, and now they're best friends. They got kids the same age, wives the same age, and their wives are best friends with each other. And so good. It built their relationship, and that's what it was for, is to build relationships amongst each other. Yep. So that they see what's driving them and what's pushing them to go every day.
Because they're traveling a lot, because you're doing a lot of long distance. So they're gone some nights, I assume, because they're having to travel and stay in hotels. And I think that's a big part of it. What else have you, as far as building your team, what are some things you've done for them? Obviously, I know you always help them financially and stuff like that. But You had mentioned something that, you know, you sit down with them and talk about their goals and what do they want from life and what do they want to do.
So I feel like that's really good, because that's what Grant was telling us. Your PPF goals, your personal, professional, finance.
Yep.
So I sat down, you know, take them one-on-one for lunch and say, all right, this is all about you. And, you know, I want to know more about you and who you are as a person. So Jack, he's our manager now. So when I first took him out, when I first hired him on, you know, he worked for a couple weeks or whatever, but I wanted to get to know him on a deeper level.
Yep.
You know, and just instead of one of the employees' friends,
sure.
You know, I wanted to know him deep. So I was like, Jack, what's your goals this year, man? Yep. You know, we sit down, we talk about everything under the stars. I said, what's your goals? What's your personal goals this year? He said, I want to travel more. He said, I want to lose weight. And there was something else he said. And I said, if I could help you achieve those goals, will you help me achieve mine? Yep. He said, yeah. I said, well, you're going to definitely be able to travel, and you're definitely going to be able to lose weight, because that's the perfect industry. And he said he wanted to travel more, so he still had the opportunity to go.
So you've had him do a lot of the long distance ones where you're going cross country.
He loves them. Like, he's been to Wisconsin, been to Florida. I think we got one coming up going to Colorado. He's going on. So he'll love that. And then trying to think of Texas. He's been to Texas a few times, the beach a few times. But that was his. You know, that's one of his goals. And then, of course, you know, being in that truck all day, you're going to lose weight.
Oh, you're going to lose weight. You're going to sweat your ass off.
A lot. Oh, my goodness. Like Bailey, he started at 280, and now he's at like 210.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
sweating.
70
sweating
pounds.
And lifting.
I mean, and that's only in 4 months, 5-6 months.
Yep.
And he's already lost that much.
How long were you out on the truck? Obviously, you've been in business now, 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
How long were you out on the truck in the beginning?
Well, I still get out on it every now and then. So, like when we just did the North Carolina. But I'd say I've been off of it for about 1.5 years.
Yep.
You know, because I've got to be able to focus on growing the company, not working on not working in it, but on it.
Yep.
And that right there, like being able to build the relationships, do the sales, the marketing, the invoicing. You know, I still do a lot, but I mean,
for sure.
But that's what I love about
it's different stuff.
Yeah. The software makes it a lot easier. So, but it's still a lot of work, because like if I have to go and do drive 2.5 hours to go to Alabama, do an estimate. Takes 30 hours to do a walkthrough. If it's a full service packing job, you got to grab all the details of the move, and then 2.5 hours back. That's my whole day going right there, just from one quote. Yep. But you got to do it. You've got to be able to get a visual of everything that's being packed up, so you got the right, the most accurate estimate and stuff, and you've got that relationship with the customer.
And you're building a relationship with them. And that's right. I think that's one thing that really sets you apart, is the relationship you build with the people. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen it just from you talking about customers and talking about what you do for them, and that you're just the guy that we're going to do whatever it takes. We're going to do everything for you. We're going to take care of you. If something messes up, I'm going to be the first one that's here to fix it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really huge.
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because like when you say anything, we had a customer was moving her from Tennessee to Mississippi.
Yep.
She had mud flaps that she wanted installed on her car. We have a truck, all of our guys from Mississippi, they love working on vehicles.
Yep.
They put her mud flaps on her car in her garage, just because of the heck of it, because we was done with the job. Yep. We was just talking with her, and I was like, she didn't want to pack them because she was going to put them on eventually. Well, it was like, well, can we put them on? Did it. So we just put them on for her.
That's awesome.
Here's a word from one of our sponsors.
Meet your moving company's personal booking agent. Did you know MoveitPro CRM software can provide your moving company with call center services? While our CRM software is great on its own, it isn't the only thing MoveitPro offers. With our call center add-on, provided by our partners at Lion's Den, your lead work is all taken care of. No stressing about turnover rate, hiring staff, or closing leads. So you can save your money and time and focus on the bigger picture while we take care of the details. Go to MoveitPro.com to learn more.
You came to the Legends Retreat, which was our first one last year. Let's talk a little bit about it. Like, what do you think about it, and what was your take on the retreat, and how do you like it?
I think that was pretty great. I mean, my most favorite thing about it was being able to network with the same people in the same industry with, the same goals. Yeah. Everybody wants to grow, like-minded thinkers. So I was able to connect with those people and learn from them the tactics that they are using
to build their
company. Yep. And, even some of the people that was, that just started. Yep. I was able to take some of their advice and get to learn what they was doing.
Yeah, just being able to sit around a conference room, or not conference room, but a dining room table, or sitting on the couch, or sitting by the pool, or bowling even. Did you do much bowling?
I did bowling and pool.
You did a little drinking.
I did, yeah. Some of them, some of them got towed up.
You got a little drinking. That was our problem because we gave unlimited liquor.
Yeah, that was fun.
But having that ability to sit down and be one-on-one with other guys in the industry, some of them are bigger than you, some of them are smaller than you in business, some of them are the same size as you, and being able to pick their brain and what are you doing for marketing, what are you doing for this, or and I think that is, one of the most exciting things for us is putting that on. Obviously, we do classes and stuff like that, but the big part of it is the networking. And obviously, that one you flew into also.
Yep.
You stayed in the house. Obviously, we did day passes where people can get their own accommodations, and then people that can stay in the house, which I think is worth it. The house is pretty cool, right? Your room was all right.
I think I had the nicest top floor, on deck.
Yeah.
Had my own little kitchen. Had a what's the thing that washes your ass?
bidet.
Bidet.
You had a bidet. You didn't try that, did you?
I didn't try it. I didn't know how to work it. I would have.
We're gonna put an instruction manual in here for that you're gonna be walking funny when you come.
I'll just call you. Hey, Mr. Jason, come help me.
Nah, I probably won't come help you. I'll send Nick.
Tell him to come on.
Oh boy! But so that was a really neat event that we did, and we're super happy that you came to that. We're doing it again in March. I think we're half sold out already, which is cool. You're coming to that one for sure. You're doing one of the rooms?
I've already got it.
Yep.
I got it paid for already.
So that's good. And then, so let's talk a little bit about how you found MoveitPro, or we found you.
Okay.
So obviously we were at a conference, myself, my wife, and a couple of our employees were at a Grant Cardone conference in Miami. And we're there and doing a bunch of stuff. And there's this guy over in the side named Angus, and he's got a moving company, which we just so happen to sell moving software.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure my wife ambushed you.
Yep. That was the funny thing, because I was there in this retreat.
Which my wife doesn't normally sell anything, you know what I mean? But she's like, we got to help this. Like, not that you needed help, but because you didn't have software.
Help.
You didn't have software.
I needed help.
You were, not wasting tons of time, but you were spending a bunch of time sending estimates and stuff manually, and we knew that we could help you. So go ahead.
Well, that's funny, because I was sitting in the retreat, and I was like, I heard them say something move. Like a moving company. I was like, dang, there's another moving company. I'm ready to get with them and talk to them. I didn't know, I didn't even know.
MoveitPro, yeah.
I was like, I didn't know there was a such thing as a software for a moving company.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to figure out who y'all was, where y'all was sitting at, so I could reach out to. And I just remember your wife standing up saying, I want to sell him. Can you help me sell this service to him? I was like, why me? What are you talking about? I'm a moving company owner just like you. And
then you realize it was
software. And I was like, well, that's pretty neat. And then we was in there, and when we did the role play with them, she was like, you're coming to me. I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's fine. So I went over there. We did our role play back and forth, and she was like, going, with her script that she was using, and what we was learning that
because at this conference it was a sales workshop where we actually went as managers to then come back and teach our sales teams on better selling techniques and stuff. So that's what he's talking about.
Because we were standing,
she's selling you right there.
Yeah, she was literally like we was like this close apart from each other.
Where'd you sign the contract at for MoveitPro?
We signed it in the back of your Rolls Royce, back of the Royce.
We got to the end of the event, and he did a what is it called, a layover. He's just ready. Just take my money. Just take my money. Sorry, kid. So you sat in the back of the Rolls.
Once you've got something so great like y'all have got, and it's not even expensive, like $150 a month.
Yep.
It's stupid not to do it.
Yep.
And it's going to grow your company huge because you don't even have to do anything now.
Yeah.
And why would you pay anything? I don't for me, my biggest part was, when we first started, was scheduling. My guys wanted something that they can see to get the details of the job, instead of just saying, hey, you got this job. You got to relay this information over to them now. When I got the software, when you got the software, all they've got to do is just log in.
And they can see it all.
As soon as it schedules them to the job, all they got to do is click on it, see what day it is, when it is, where it is, all the moving information, everything that's being moved, how many boxes, everything, the size of the home, the square footage, how many bedrooms, everything. And they could click in and see all of it.
And then the biggest thing, I think, which is good for an owner-operator, obviously you're running the company. So we were driving over to lunch today.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's got his phone pulling up and he's going, oh, this is how many jobs I got today. He's just scrolling through it. He's got all his data, all his statistics. He goes, right here on my phone, I can see everything.
All the statistics.
How many leads have come in today, how many jobs I got today, how many moves today, how many booked today, all the stuff.
Not even just that. It was the
revenue from the last 12 months.
Yep. And it breaks it down what we made in October.
Yep.
It showed us what we've made this month already.
Yep.
September. What's before September? August.
Yep.
And then
it shows every month. It shows the same months last year, so you can compare it to this year and last year.
It's pretty neat.
So I mean, it's been a big thing. I think that hopefully it's helped your company.
Yep.
In being more, being able to manage everything.
Yes.
And know what you're doing. When you go out and do estimates, how are you using MoveitPro for your estimates? Are you having MoveitPro for the most part figure out how long travel time is and all that stuff?
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like y'all's software, you just type the address in, type the other address, the destination address, and if they've got another address to type in, you just type it in.
Yeah.
Calculates up all the drive time because you got Google Maps installed
we
inside
with Google Maps. Yep.
So I mean, with everything being inside the software, I don't have to go and type this address in again,
try and figure it out,
figure it out myself.
Yep.
When I can just literally all put it in the software. It's all put in the software and done for me.
Yeah,
shows literally the exact amount of travel time.
Yeah.
That's what I love. And then like the job that they're going for Wednesday, they're going to Tennessee. I think it was a 6-hour drive there.
Yep.
6-hour drive back, 12 hours.
So right there, and then calculates. Are you using the calculations for loading and unloading time too, or are you putting that in?
I put that in. So like I pretty much estimate what how long it's going to take. So I think on that job, I think I put 6 of us on it, or 4 or 5 of us on it to load it up, get it loaded. I think 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours to load, and they would knock it out in no time. It's a 3-bedroom house. 2 of the bedrooms ain't got no furniture, so they'd be able to go in. Not even a sofa, love seat. I don't even think none of the appliances are going.
Yeah. So before you came here, did you know there was a hurricane coming?
Yeah, I knew it.
You knew it?
I'm not a big scaredy cat of hurricanes.
So tell me. So obviously, a lot of people running away from Florida right now, and you flew into Florida to meet with me, meet our team, come do this podcast. Why was it so important? And it is, a real question.
Yeah. So
why was it so important? Because I'm happy you're here.
Yeah. I think really, I look at it from both sides. It's helping you.
Yep.
And I'm always trying to serve. Yep. I know it's going to help benefit you. Y'all do it for a living. And then it's also going to benefit us because then I'll be able to market for ourselves. Yep. Y'all market for yourself. And, we both come together and we just learn and grab ideas off of each other and have a good time. Yep. Make fun of each other driving a fake truck. So
that fake truck goes fast though, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
Did it when we drove to lunch, did I drive it or it drove itself?
I think it drove itself.
Complete hands off.
You wasn't even touching the steering wheel or the gas pedal. That was fun.
Boy. So if you had to go back 5 years and give yourself advice or talk to yourself, what do you think you'd say?
That's a good question.
So 5 years. Were you working at Room to Room still back then? What were you doing then? Because you're 20.
I think I was working at Ashley Furniture.
You're 24 now?
Mm-hmm.
So you're 24. So you're 19. 19.
I was working at Room to Room. Not Room to Room. Ashley Furniture.
Ashley Furniture. So doing the same stuff? Doing delivery? Or you're doing sales?
I was just loading trucks.
Got it.
Just going picking up truck.
Would you have thought back then that you would have? I mean, what were your aspirations for life?
Nothing. Like I said, I was.
That's what you're saying. That's what you're praying. Just
I was just flowing
tell me
with
what
life.
To do.
And when I don't know. I never seen college in my future.
Yeah.
I never wanted to go to college. I hated school.
Same.
I graduated with a 64. That was the lowest grade you could have to pass high school.
Yep.
And that's what I passed with was a 64. I never cared.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm not going to college.
Yep.
I hate school. Why would I go to college, put myself in something that I don't like?
Yeah.
And when I could go do anything I want, work my tail off, and make a good living, And that's what I did. I just worked and worked and worked and worked. I've always worked like 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
Like I worked at UPS. I remember working at UPS. I was literally sleeping in my car between breaks. Like I would work from
working your tail.
I was working get up at I was like night shift. We would load the UPS trucks, because it was seasonal help.
Yep.
So we would load at like 12 o'clock in the morning or at night.
Yep.
And then we'd get done about 6, 7. That's when the drivers came in to get on the trucks and do deliveries.
Yep.
I would do the driver help. So between 6 and 7, I would go from UPS to the Chick-fil-A in town. I'd sleep in my truck for like 10 minutes till my driver got there. I'd wake up, my driver's there. I'd get in the truck with him, and we'd go deliver. We wouldn't get in till 7 o'clock that night.
You do it all over again.
And then I'd go. Some nights, may have got in at about 6 or 5.
Yep.
But you got to drive 30 minutes to your house, shower, eat, whatever. So that's another hour and a half at least going right there. I'd only sleep 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
And that's all I've ever known. Like, even before I started the company, I was working at Room to Room and go and help my brother. He's doing the football games, and we would work the football games. I'd get up at 8 on Friday or 7, work at Room to Room from 8 to 4. At 4 o'clock, I'd go to Oxford, drive to Oxford, be there about 5 o'clock.
Yep.
From 5 o'clock to about 4 or 5 that Saturday morning, we would be done, and then turn around, get up at 6 Saturday morning, only sleep an hour, and work from 6 all the way to like Sunday morning to like 7. And I remember driving home some days, literally falling asleep behind the wheel. I got videos on my phone where I just recording, because I know nobody would ever believe me. I was just driving, and you can see my eyes just, and I'd wake up, and you can see how bloodshot my eyes was. But that's all I've ever known, and I found fulfillment in that because I knew that I was making a difference. Not just my life.
Where did you learn the hard work from, you think?
I'm going to say my mom.
Yeah.
And my papaw and my mamaw. Like, they
your
always...
Papaw, your grandfather?
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
your
my
grandfather and your
papaw.
grandma. Got it.
He's my step-granddad, but that's all I've ever known was to work. We've worked raising cattle all our life. We'd be in the fields picking peas at 7, 8 years old.
You grew up with a father or no?
I got a father, but I'm not that close to him or anything. And my mamaw, she was a home care nurse. So she would always work. She'd come in every night, sore as all get out. But when you see that, that's all you know.
Over and over and over,
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Like my mom, she worked when I growing up. She was working, going to school, going to work at Walmart, working 2 different jobs.
Yep.
That's all I seen. So that's all I knew.
Yep.
And
so when you started working, that's just what you did?
It was just who I was.
Yep.
And that's kind of like, even with the moving company, we'd work 24 hours straight. Straight labor.
I remember you talking about that. You'd be, especially when one's coming from out of town, you'd get back super late, and then you got another one first thing.
In the morning.
What, one thing I've seen that I think, and I've respected a lot about you, is your self-development stuff you've done. You've done a lot of self-development. A lot of, you're traveling all over. You're flying a lot. You've gone to Grant Cardone stuff. You've gone to a dump bunch. You've come to our stuff. You've done, what are some of the things, which is probably a hard question to ask, but what are some of the things you've taken out of all that? You've done so many of these classes with Cardone. You've done stuff with us. Like what is value has that stuff brought to building your company?
That's a good question, because it's been a lot. I think me personally, what your dad was talking about, Mr. Gary, being a leader. Like, everybody, you're either born a leader, you're not a leader.
Yep.
Leaders are born.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm a leader. Yep. Like I even my son, I feel like I could look at a 5-year-old and say he's a born leader just because I could see the traits and qualities he has. And I see those same traits in myself. But becoming a better leader, not just for me or my son, but for my employees, my family, my future employees, my future friends, my future family. Like, how can I lead these people? And, I've always been big in church. I used to be big in church, being a leader in the youth group. Like leading them to Christ, leading them to, to their saving grace. And, of course I struggle, wrestled with that and stuff, but I think leadership, that's probably my biggest takeaway, because your dad talked a good bit about that
we had a whole
at the Legends Retreat. And that really stood out to me, is just how can you become a better leader? And then, of course, be
someone that people want to follow. That's a big thing. There's a lot of leaders out there that they're leaders, but no one wants to follow them.
That's right.
They're dictators, really.
And that's, like, I've always seen it like a leader, you've got a leader is going to be someone that's going to help you push. A dictator is going to be the one, push, go. I'm not that type of person. I want to help my people.
You get out and bust your butt.
Like I tell my guys all the time, I said, I'll go out there and work, but if I go out there and work, you're going to be losing hours. And if you lose hours, don't come to me complaining, saying you ain't got hours, and because I'm taking them. But, I can't be in the field.
And you got to be selling.
And but I feel like, you know, just always being that example of becoming a lead or being a leader for everyone around you, like what makes you different than everyone else. Like, so like I had a buddy that he was a born leader, and every day going to school, he would always tell me not to cuss. 15-year-old dude telling me not to cuss at football practice too. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he would always pick up trash on the way to football practice. Yeah. It's like, dude, what are you picking up trash? You're a kid, man. Let that crap be. Throw trash down, you know? And I just, you know, you can see those qualities. Sure. I seen those qualities in him. And I will always tell him that to this day. And me and him are really good friends to this day. But those traits that he has carried over to me. But I've always been scared, you know, growing up, I was always scared to let it show. Sure. But now I'm older. Now you can I want to make a difference. Like I want to create opportunity for the people I'm around, the ones I'm with, that when we do something, they see that, dang, I want that. Yeah. That's what I want. Like when we go out in public, I want them to be able to stop and say, dang, I want a life like he's got.
Which I think you've done in your city, right? Mm-hmm. You know, Mississippi, a little small area. I mean, you've talked a little bit about it. I mean, for a long time, you didn't want to wear a suit.
Oh, man.
And you and me we talked quite a bit about this. What'd you tell me at lunch today? What did you say? The ladies like the suit?
Oh, man, they love the suit. That's funny. We was in North Carolina, and the guy, you know, my guys, they wrote a note to the subway workers, and they, this is so funny. So we was sitting there, and they said, I like to bang furniture. Call me 662-871-2162. Put my number on there. Yeah. And they grabbed the note and they died laughing. Well, they texted me and they was like, "Who's this?" Or, you know, "Which one are you?" Well, I sent them a picture of me in the suit. They was like, "I could get behind Boss Man." And I was like, and I, you know, had my water money up and everything. It was like, I could get behind him, tell him to call me. And I was like, this is Boss Man. Because I was acting like it wasn't me. But they love it, you know. But once you put yourself...
But the customers like it too, professional-wise. And going
like as soon as I got done, after the retreat, you told me to get one, I wore one to the next customer's house. Very first customer I went to. It was a $10,000 job.
Could you tell a difference? And here's the thing. For those of you that don't know Angus, Angus is Angus. Whatever you see is what you're gonna get.
That's right.
But in a good way. And whatever you're thinking, you're gonna say, and you're super respectful, and everything you say is yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and I mean you're amazing. Mm-hmm. Could you tell a difference when you put on a suit the way the customers act, or not really?
Not just
like as far as looking more professional, or what?
Yeah,
what did
they
you
always, because not just them though. It was the people I was around in the everyday life. Yeah. Like when I'd go and get gas. Yeah. But the customers, they were like, you look really nice. Yeah. You know, I want the best for you. You know, that's what you always told me. You want the best for them. Like that's what you kept on telling me. Do you want the best for your customer, Angus? I was like, yeah, of course. Well, just try it. Quit being a stupid. Quit being an idiot and just try it. Like, what's it going to hurt? And that's what you kept on telling me. What's it going to hurt? Yep. I was like, freak it, man.
And Angus's big thing, which is, I have a lot of respect for, honestly. And he goes, the thing is, though, a suit is not me.
That's right.
He goes, I'm hanging. I got my baseball cap, my T-shirt or a button-up, you know, fishing shirt and shorts, and that's me. I don't need to be anybody else for other people. And I said, well, I get that. I said, but first impressions mean a big thing. If you're representing yourself as the most professional company and your guys are going to take care of them, that lets the customer know more. When you show up and you're professional, you take yourself seriously. And I think that's opened up a lot of, you say, the first job when you came back was $10,000.
$10,000, just, boom. You know. And he was a lawyer.
And now you like wearing suits.
I love them. I got 4 of them. I mean, but it's people hold you to a higher level of accountability when you dress up. And I didn't realize that. Like, as soon as the very first day I had it on, I was going to the gas station to fill up in my truck. And in Mississippi, in Shannon, it's just a bunch of black people. Yeah. I'm not racist. I grew up with them all. Sure. They would hold doors open for me. I was like, wow, what the heck?
Just because I'm wearing a suit.
And I was like, and I'm still me. But then I'd go the next day and throw just my shorts on and just to test it out. And they would just go in there.
Isn't that crazy?
And they had a lot more respect for me because I had a suit on. And I was like,
which is interesting.
It is weird. Know. Like, why do people, like, because I've never been, like, I don't care if you got, I don't care if you're home, I'm going to hold that door open for you regardless. But it's weird, like, how people view you.
That's because you're parents raised you that way.
But I don't I still don't understand it to this day why people do that. Like they judge you based off your first appearance. But I'm glad you did that though. You literally.
Well, and the thing is to be able to open up more opportunities. I mean, the big thing is, which I think you're starting. I mean, you've probably already realized this, but the things that you're able to do with money. Mm-hmm. You know, we talked about this a little bit, but you know, so many people say money can't make you happy.
Yeah.
And in the reality, obviously, there's a lot of wealthy people that have taken their own lives because in reality, it didn't make them happy, right?
Yeah.
But if you mean well with your money, money can make you happy.
Oh yeah.
You know, having the ability to take your entire family on vacations for a month, being able to help your employees by lending them money or helping them meet their goals, the ability to, you know, donate to your charity or your church or have, you know, you get super wealthy where they're naming, you know, the YMCA after you because you donated $1 million or things like that. Is part of what brings happiness and being able to make a change in the world, which I think is a big thing that you're already starting to be able to experiment with in the sense of your own family and your employees.
That's right.
You know,
and not just my friends too.
Yeah.
Like talking about the youth, like donating and stuff. Yep. I could I know my buddy, they're big in the church. Yep. So when they got a mission trip coming up, hey, I need some funds. They know to come to me. I could take care of them.
Yep.
They got it all covered. But I know that the impact that they're making, they're going to spread the gospel. Yep. And that's
Which
really
is what you believe in, and it's important
really important. Yep. And like I know that they're going to share the message effectively and truly to the people that they're sharing it to. Yep. And I'll do it every day.
And it's worth it. And I agree. And that's the big thing that, you know, so many people idolize money and stuff, which obviously is not what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But the ability to be able to use your finances to help people, I think is a big thing.
Here is a word from one of our sponsors.
Running a moving company can be a challenge, especially when it comes to staffing during peak seasons. That's where Lion's Den booking service comes in. We understand the unique needs of moving companies and offer a solution that makes staffing easy and efficient. With Lion's Den, you gain access to a network of reliable professionals ready to assist you at a moment's notice. Our pay-per-minute model allows for flexible scheduling, so you only pay for the time you use. Let us do the hunting, booking, selling for you. And with dedicated support from our team, help is always just a click away. Sign up now and enjoy this exclusive offer to streamline your operations and maximize your profitability. Join Lion's Den booking service today and revolutionize the way you manage your moving business.
So you've done a lot of traveling for you've done a bunch of Cardone stuff. I mean, you've been to Miami. We met you there once, but you've been there a few times, right? You've been to Arizona for some of their stuff.
I've been to Arizona.
You've been to Kissimmee or Orlando when you came to our Legends. You just flew down here for this.
That's right.
What other stuff have you done? Have you done any other?
I've been to Vegas a couple times. Oh, you did
times. Vegas? Yeah, you did.
GrowthCon.
GrowthCon there, yeah.
I did a marketing event there. It wasn't with Grant. It was like Patrick Bet-David, Alex Hermosi, and all of them. It was a big event.
Yep. That was in Vegas?
That was in Vegas. Cool. That was my very first one I actually went to. Yeah. And it was pretty good, but I wasn't in business like I was. I was going just to go as a friend with a friend. Yep. Which is Trevor, which is the guy that I was telling you about. And I was just going, didn't even go. Like I spent like 10 grand on this ticket, and I was like, I'm not even going to the rest of the days. I only went one day, and then just toured Vegas the rest of the days. But it kind of opened my eyes up a little bit. Like this is what business is about. Like you're in the room with a billionaire right now. Yep. Like where else you gonna get that opportunity at? And it kind of like once I left, I was like, dang, I let all that go to waste. I was so mad at myself.
But then you learned for the next ones.
And then I went back to it again. I went to another one, which was when I went by myself to Grant's. Yeah. And I went, like, that was my biggest thing. Like, it was by myself, never went with nobody, never traveled alone or anything. I was like, forget it. Freak it.
What'd that one cost when you went? That was Vegas? You had the hotel. You went to Vegas for WealthCon?
Yeah, that I did that one. I think that was about $7,500, something around there.
Plus hotel and stuff,
Yep. And then the one that I went to by myself, the boot camp, was at Grant's boot camp, and I just bought me a VIP, got me a desk, front row desk, and that's when it hit. Yeah. That's when I got serious about business, because I realized that you can really grow your company. Oh yeah. And when I was in there, I was the youngest in this event, and I'm up there. I'm not front row or anything, but I'm like 4 rows back. I'm like, raising my hand on every question they got, just saying, "Hey, what does that mean?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Who is this dude?" Like, I'm literally in my big brown jacket.
Yeah.
You know, just looked like I just got out of bed.
Yeah.
And it's Florida. I got a big brown jacket on, and just trying to figure out the whole business thing. And I was, you know, I've got ADHD, so like when an ADHD person gets, they call it hyper focused. I was hyper focused. It was a 3-day event, and I learned so much. And
I think we all have ADD. I think in order to be an entrepreneur, for the most part, you got to have ADD. Mm-hmm. I've dealt with it my whole life also, and so that's sometimes my people that I work with say, "Why the hell are you focusing so much time on that?" Oh, sorry.
But that's weird. Like, you know, but that's how it is.
But I think it's a superpower, to be honest with you.
I do too.
If you look at most either super wealthy or super successful business owners, the majority of us have it, and it's interesting because when we were kids, it was a terrible thing. Mm-hmm. They tried to medicate us all. They tried whatever, you know, but yeah. So tell me a little bit. So house to house, give me your elevator pitch for house to house. So if you're going out to do a on-site, you know, tell me how you talk to your customers, what you're telling them about your company, and if they're gonna use you or not.
Yeah. So my biggest thing is when I go to a customer doing the in-home estimate with them, I do a lot of photos. Yep. I show them photos of how we take care of the furniture, how we protect
of previous jobs. You show them a bunch of pictures.
Yep. And then of the reviews. The reviews don't lie. That's customers that we've had in the past. And the video testimonials.
And you do a ton of video testimonials. Those video testimonials are gold.
Are gold. Because like we literally get done with the job.
And your guys are sweaty as hell. I mean, which is great. Because they're going up to the, I mean, sorry, you explain it because you're talking about it. No, you're fine. But they go up to the customer and they say, "Hey, will you just do a video short testimonial about us?"
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, and
most of them will do it.
Like I've only had a few that wouldn't do it.
They just don't want to be on video.
They just don't like being on video, which is fine.
Yeah,
we just get.
But the majority of them, I mean, I see them. You post them all the time. All the time. And it's almost every one of them is, you know, house to house, just moving. Of course, they all have that accent. You know, we don't have Florida. We don't have the accent. That's right. That's really why he's so successful. It's the accent.
Probably so.
The older ladies, they just love the accent.
They do. I mean, I have them older ladies. Here's my card, and I'm like, "Thank you."
But you know, to say, you know, "Hey, we just use house to house, and it's 5 stars, blah 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 blah, and they took great care of us, and the guys are great, and you know, it's a 10, 15, 20-second video, and you guys post it all over social media,
all over Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Every YouTube, I think, and then sometimes we'll boost the post on like Facebook just so we could get more attention to the video. Yeah. But they always make a difference. Like I had one guy that called me from doing one from Birmingham to South Carolina. Yep. And he's got a daughter that was moving from Birmingham to like North Carolina. Yeah. I was like, well, daggum. I never had a lead off of TikTok, but because of that video,
he saw it and
he was like, and I'm like just added the location of where we moved them to. Yeah. And I guess he was in that same area
and saw it. And
his daughter was from Birmingham. So he was able to get another job booked off of that.
And so when you're doing it, so you're going out to do an on-site. So you show them a bunch of pictures. You tell them obviously what's the story you tell them of yourself. You tell them you're the owner. You tell them how long you've been in business. Like what kind of do you tell them in your sales process?
I really don't really have a sales process. I just go in, tell them I'm gonna walk through the home. We're gonna do a walkthrough of the home. Anything that's moving, you know, just let me know so we can calculate. If it's not being moved, tell me so I don't throw it in the software. And at the end of the job, you know, we start talking, you know, talk numbers.
Price, yep.
And then I just say, do you want to go ahead and book? They say yay or nay. Yep. And they say no. I'm like, when would you like for me to do a follow-up with you? You know, call back or whatever. Yep. Or because sometimes they would tell me that, you know, they got it, like sometimes their husband's not there. Yeah. Like he's at work. So they have to talk to their husband and stuff like that. And so I've really never got into the sales. Yeah. Like I think
a big part of it is you're just super genuine with them. And I mean, you're just super.
And that's what, and they could
laid back, genuine, you know, this is what we do. Here's some videos of some of our customers that you can see we moved them. Here's our reviews. And I think it's just a big part of, you know, of why you're successful because you're able to get so many of those jobs versus a moving company that's super salesy, super promising them everything under the sun, but really has terrible reviews. And you know what I mean?
We'll beat them every single time.
Yeah.
But that's what we deliver is quality, not quantity. Like, you know, of course everybody's in it for the money, but I tell all of my employees, I'm like, we're here to serve this customer.
Yeah.
And I even talking about sales, I do hype my employees up, like talk to the customer, tell them our employees are going to be the best employee. And I do tell them that because our employees are fantastic.
Very good,
because they are the ones that take care of them.
Yep.
And I tell them, I'm not going to have somebody that's going to be a piece of junk come into your home.
Yep.
And make a bad picture on who I am as the owner when that's not who I am.
Yep.
So I tell them, like Jack and Zach, Bailey, Isaiah, all my guys.
Yeah.
I'll hype them up.
They're going to take care of you.
I know they're going to take care of you. Like when they come to your house, you do not have to worry. All you've got to do is just guide them, show them what you need done, and they'll take care of you.
Yep.
And along the way, you just be there with them.
Yep.
And they'll crack up with you, make jokes about you, and they'll make jokes back. And I mean, that's what it's all about.
It's building a relationship with them.
That's what it is.
What percentage of your jobs are local now? Or what percentage are long distance?
80% is local.
So 80% is local and about 20%. And you got the other 20% there, you're doing quite long distance.
Mm-hmm. Like
you got Florida, Colorado, you got
Yep. We just got back from North Carolina. We got the Wisconsin. We got back from Pennsylvania.
Yep.
But they're all, I mean, we do get, I think, Birmingham to Nashville, I'd probably say 70% is local, 30%.
And that's picked up, right? I mean, where you used to be more local, and then you started slowly getting long distance?
So you're talking about local moves.
Local, yep.
So not like going to Birmingham.
Yep.
You are talking about going to Birmingham?
Nope, being like local. In Mississippi to Mississippi.
Like Tupelo.
Yep.
All right.
What percentage of this? It's all right. Yeah, so if
because, we serve 180-mile radius, so like Birmingham is not local to us.
Yeah, so Tupelo to Tupelo. How many often your jobs are?
Probably 60%.
60% is real local.
Yeah.
And then the other 40% is going state to state or going long distance.
Yeah, going to Birmingham, like the Birmingham to Nashville. That's, that's a pretty big job. That's one of our biggest jobs.
Yeah. And then what, that's picked up a lot. I mean, what do you attribute to that long distance picking up? Are you advertising it anywhere, or it's just people seeing your stuff?
I think the guy that we use to build our website does our SEO.
So he did a bunch of stuff.
I think he's killing it doing our advertising like that. Honestly, so like when we very first started, how we got the Colorado job, this lady that found us, she was looking for a faith-based moving company.
Yep.
And she did a lot of research trying to find the perfect mover. Yep. She found us finally, but it was because of my guy that was doing our website.
She did a bunch of SEO, so she found it in search.
She finally found it. Yep. And she found us, went out there, drove right at 2 hours and 45 minutes away to do an in-home estimate with her to build that relationship with her. And she knew right then she was booking. Yeah. And it took us she had it booked, her house fell through, and then she finally called a year later, said, Angus, I'm ready to move. I was like, oh my God, I thought you done canceled.
I thought you was gone.
But then now she's got us referred to her friend moving to Colorado. Yep. So off of that, my SEO, the guy that's built my SEO, that's done my SEO, it was like a $17,000 job and a $16,000 job.
That's good.
So I mean, right there, you're looking at $30,000.
That pays for how much you've probably been sending him.
That's what I'm saying.
You doing any pay-per-click stuff, or what other advertising stuff you guys do?
I don't even know what pay-per-clicks are. I've never got into it. I've talked to my I try to deal it I don't want to handle that. Like if I don't know how to do it, I don't want to do it. Yep. So like all that kind of stuff, I try to just get somebody to do it for me, so I don't have to deal with it. And if it's true, it's going to pay for itself.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
And so if I feel like if I get somebody. I'm trying to get my guy to do the Google ads and stuff, but he's been working on trying to figure it out himself. Yep. Because he does more SEO. Yep. So I'm hoping that he gets into Google ads.
So he can figure some of that out. What lead providers are you using now?
I ain't using none right now.
For a while you were using
Thumbtack and Angie ads, but I just quit using both of them. Kind of burnt out a little bit on it, but I got to get back in it and pick it back up.
Yeah, and figure out. And that's the big thing. Every area has different advertising that works better. Mm-hmm. Some people, they kill it with Yelp, which personally I hate Yelp. Yeah. Especially for movers, because they blackmail you and they only like showing you bad reviews, and I mean they're just not great unless you're paying them. But some areas do really good with Yelp, and then some areas, it just doesn't do good. So what do you think's next for House to House? I mean, over the next, you got 3 years, you've hit 1 million already. What's another 3 to 5 years look like?
Storage.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get into some storage. Yeah. I think that's going to be my next little investment. Yeah. Getting into some kind of storage and a location, like an actual, instead of working from home, get an actual location, store frontage, everything like that. So then we can store, storage units and
Real
stuff.
estate's quite a bit less expensive, I think, in Mississippi compared to Florida or Arizona.
I just closed on a 4-bed, 2-bath, $146,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you have acreage.
5.8 acres and a mobile home on it.
Yeah.
For $146,000. So
you can buy in Orlando, Florida for $146,000. Nothing.
I mean, that's what I love about Mississippi.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's
and
crazy.
We got 5 acres still.
5.8 acres.
And I saw the house. Beautiful house. I mean, you got big workshop in the back. That's insane.
Got my own little carport.
So so you'll be able to get something there, and then you'll be able to put an office in there or have an office and then storage, and that's the big thing. I mean, we did storage as long as I can remember. And storage was a big part of business because not only did storage help you in the slow season, the wintertime, usually movers are slow.
That's right.
So storage is nice because it's still money coming in. But our storage, for the most part, just the storage revenue paid for the facility, our office staff, utilities, paid for all of that every month. So every month when you're moving, all your hard costs like that were already covered. Your secretary was covered, your couple salespeople were covered, all that payroll was covered. Your internet, your phone,
just from the storage.
Just from the storage.
Dang.
And then you end up doing more moves too, because a lot of people will move stuff into storage
with the company that has the storage.
With the company that has storage, and then in a month or 6 months or a year when their new house is ready, it's just common sense that they use you again because they moved it into your storage.
That's right.
Versus sometimes, and obviously you take good care of your people, so it probably doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes if you move stuff into a public storage, you might not always be the mover that moves it out.
That's right.
Sometimes they find someone cheaper, or they realize they could do it themselves, or whatever the case is, and you lose it, So having storage almost doubles a lot of those moves.
That's good.
And so that's a big thing, and I think that's really wise of you to get into storage. And then over time, that starts to become part of your retirement too, which is, you have a long ways to go yet, but for retirement, you're so young. But, you buy a place that's a couple $100,000 now. I'm assuming a couple $100,000 up in there just based on your house being that much. 20 years, 30 years down the road, it'll be worth $3, $4, $5 million.
That's right.
And it'll be paid off by the business that's been paying the mortgage all that time,
that's right.
And so that's really good. So, So if you were a mover or someone that's working at Ashley's Furniture or a similar place, and you're wanting to open a moving company, not in Mississippi, because you don't want to give them good advice.
Yeah. Yeah, don't listen.
What advice would you have them, and kind of think deep? So obviously, the advice of just open a moving company is obviously that's a given, right?
Yeah.
But how do you feel, what do you attribute to the success that you've had to be able to grow the moving company to hit $1 million already in less than 3 years? Like what, obviously your hard work and stuff like that. What would you say to that person if they were, if it was your brother that lived in another state and wanted to open a moving company?
Yeah, I'd tell him to download some lead providers, and depending on how much capital he had, if he had a good bit of capital, to hire somebody to do his Google, his SEO and everything, get his, frontage on online presence built. Yeah. And then start advertising, advertise like crazy. You can go and get a fake Facebook post from a company of how they loaded their truck. Take that, screenshot. I mean, not supposed to, but that's what I did. I swear I did.
At the very beginning?
At the very beginning, I'd go on Facebook, find a company that I don't even know who the heck it was. No, it was a Google photo. Took a picture of the Google photo because it's stacked real good, and screenshot it, put it on my Facebook post, and then I just implemented that into my business. And I would tell them to download lead providers like Angie or Thumbtack, because that's honestly what I did.
Because that's what you started with, and they just started sending you customers.
And they started sending, and then once they started sending, I just kept on getting busier and busier and busier.
And then hard work. I mean, you had some sleepless nights, I would assume, when you were first building.
I mean, literally, I remember getting calls at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Really?
And I'd be like, thank you for choosing House to House. I was sleeping. They was like, I'm so sorry to call. I'm like, it's okay. I'm here to help you. And what can I do for you? But I'm half asleep. They were like, well, I just broke my leg, and I need to get this U-Haul unloaded. What time are you looking to get it done?
Right now.
Well, I said, we could be there at 9 a.m. in the morning, and we'd be there at 9 a.m. that morning and get it done. And just being willing to be a service to them You know, even though I was dead asleep.
And not being pissed off when they called.
When they called.
So, yeah,
you know, they knew I was tired because they just called me in the middle of the night. They know I'm asleep, but they needed help. So they had to reach out to somebody. It's almost like when 911 answers, they've got to be there. Yeah. And that's what I like. On my business page, I put it 24/7. I think I got it set as 24/7, so they could call at any time of the day, knowing that I'm there.
You get many calls at night?
Not no more. Yeah. I get a lot of leads. I still get a good bit of leads, but coming. I don't really call them or anything. I need to get back in. I got to have. If anybody's wanting a sales job, call me so I can get you in some sales. Easy money. Yeah. But sales that's what I really need is somebody to do my leads. Yeah. Because if I get somebody to do leads and just go in and take care of in-home estimates.
I think we're going to talk to them about Lions Den after this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We're going to tie you down.
Yeah. Cancel that.
So I think that's good. So if there's someone listening to this right now that's on the fence about spending the money to come to Legends, a few $1,000s.
Oh yeah.
What do you got for them?
You'd be crazy not to do it, honestly, because what are you going to lose? You're going to spend $2,000 one way or another. You can get it taxed. It's a tax deductible because you get in and you get to network with like-minded individuals. Like when I don't even think I was hesitant of signing up.
You say, here's my card.
Like literally, but I knew what I was getting myself into.
And we actually lowered the price this year to help people out.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean,
last year I think it was $4,000. We lowered it to $26.99 this year.
That's right. And I mean, it makes it a lot more enjoyable for everybody to come because now $2,609. Honestly, you get that off of one job. One move.
And then what, you guys are all in a group, right? Everyone that went last year, so that group's going to continue to grow, which is awesome.
And I mean, it's not just a one-time deal. Like I'm in a group chat right now with everybody that was in that
Legends retreat last year.
And we're still it's been about
how active
8 months.
Is it? It's active almost every day.
Every single day.
People say, hey, what lead providers you guys using? What experience did you have with this?
And they were sending help.
Like hey, I need coverage on a job in Florida. I know there's a couple of you down there. You know, it's and I think that's huge, and that's a big part of us building the Legends Retreat. In reality, we don't make money on that. Like we're lucky if we break even. Mm-hmm. Our goal really is two things: one, doing an event that's going to benefit the industry.
That's right.
And then our goal long term is that we know putting on an event and us sponsoring it and hosting it and doing all of that will help us on the long term with MoveitPro because obviously we're the ones putting it on.
Yeah, and then also you build the relationships with all the customers. Because you're online. Sure. So now you get to meet these people in person. Yep. That's kind of how I was with y'all. Besides,
we had met a little bit earlier, but most of the people most of the people at the event, we didn't know.
Yeah, like Nick.
And like Nick, you never met.
Because Mr. Nick, he was the one that always was able to help me. He was the one that did my training through the software and everything.
And Nick's a good old country boy too, even though he lives in Orlando, Florida. So when he first met Angus, he goes, "Man, Angus is my kind of guy. He's my kind of crowd."
That's right. But I mean, I want to be able to put a person. Yeah. Like for me, I want to be able to know
a relationship.
I want to have that relationship built with them. So now when I came here, it's family. Yeah. That's not like, oh, who's nervous to meet who? Yeah. Everybody knows me.
As soon as you came in, we shook each other's hand. You gave me a hug, and and then we went out to lunch, and he shot a few things. We're going to do. He did a little bit of a documentary about his moving company and how he's used MoveitPro. Our production team shot earlier before this.
That's right.
And then we did this, and then now he's got to figure out how to get home in a hurricane.
That's right. I got to figure that out. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. You might be driving back tomorrow.
I hope not. Yeah. I don't want to drive.
We'll have to look at the news again after this. So anyway, all right. Well, I think that's all I got. You got anything else you want to say to anyone watching this? There's several hundred movers that watch this. You want to give your company maybe a little blurb if they're ever needing help in Mississippi?
Yeah. Well, I first want to say, don't be in business. Don't go into business for the money. Go into business to serve. I feel like a lot of people go in business just to. And they're never going to be successful. But if you go into business to just make money,
serve other people, you're
going to fail. Yep. But if you go into business to serve, you're doing the right thing. That's probably my biggest thing. Serve, and do right towards your customers. Yeah. Like I've been in business for 3 years now. I've probably only had 3 bad customers in 3 years, and that's
3,000 customers.
And that's like 3,000 customers. Yeah. I've only had 3 people not pay.
Yep.
Out of 3,000 people, 3 people.
Yep.
And I don't
It's
care.
because you built relationships with
But
them.
I don't, and it's like, it's not a, and the people that didn't pay was like small jobs.
Yeah.
But I built the relationship with these people, and they trust me, and I trust them.
And your guys have built good relationships
Yep.
with them because they're out there. Yep.
And they're in the field serving them. Like
Yep.
the customer 2 years ago, when I very first started, she just requested services again. She was
Yep.
like, "Hey, are y'all still in business?" Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
We're here to help. It's like everything's upgraded a little bit. I'm gonna send you a link. Sent her my link to fill out a quote request
Yep.
with y'all software. She filled it out, and all I've got to do is just call her back in a little bit.
Yep.
But I mean, just serve where your feet are, guys. And then if you're in Mississippi or moving through towards Mississippi, give us a call, 662-871-2162. We'll be happy to help you and give you the best moving experience of your life. Better than J&J Metro.
Come on now. What's the website?
www.housetohousemoving.com.
Yeah, perfect.
That's good.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you got any questions, we'll kind of put some of Angus's info on the bottom for his company and stuff like that. And then we'll go from there.
That's awesome.
All right. Thanks, Angus.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and get notified each time a new one comes out. We'll see you next time.